My neighbor, my downstairs neighbor is just playing a loop of someone hitting a drum. Just doesn't sound, I wouldn't describe it as music. Well, they just hit the drum twice, so that was maybe more musical. I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you can't. Looks like it's below the noise floor. Hello, I'm Scott. And what are we doing? Remember how I said that I really wanted to finish that Sun and, you know, wanted to button it up before moving on? There's other fish to fry. I don't like that metaphor. There's other fish in the sea. Anyway, there's other stuff to do, and one of the things to do is, let me get some things shuffled around. We talked about it a little bit. This thing here. Hello, by the way. Did I say hello? I can't remember. I think I did all the things to start. Bathroom door, stopped backblaze, changed the light, had my neighbor put on a loop of someone hitting a single drum. I think we're in great shape. So this thing, I was kind of interested in this for a couple of reasons. One, I'm interested in Twitch. I think it's cool. There's lots of possibilities for it. I think it is like, I don't know, not there yet. Like, it's not the thing it could be. Excuse me, someone's calling me. Why would they do that? It just doesn't, you know, I don't know. So like in particular, Twitch Creative, or what used to be Twitch Creative, that's the thing I'm interested in. And now they split it all up, and it just feels a little weird, and it feels fragmented, and it feels like those creative channels don't get or the former channels formerly known as creative don't get a ton of attention. So I'm like interested in Twitch. I'm interested in the problems of Twitch. Like, and so I was thinking, I saw this challenge just sort of by chance and thought it seemed interesting. And I looked at it initially and I was like, build a Twitch extension that uses AWS, piece of cake. How hard can it be? Like, it's been going on since late November. It ends at the end of this month. And I thought like, I can bang something out in no time. And then the more I got into it and looked at it, like it's pretty convoluted. Like, just as a developer experience, it's pretty rough, I would say, unfortunately. And they're working on it, certainly, but it's really complicated. And I think it makes sense that it would be complicated from the standpoint of, excuse me, I want to say do not disturb. From the standpoint of like, they're just letting any developer run native code essentially in the middle of their platform. And so, yeah, they probably want to be pretty strict about it and pretty specific about it. So that's fine. But just the tooling around it feels a little weird at this point. I'm just getting into it. Like, this is stuff I really just started looking at yesterday. But anyway, I was interested in this for a few reasons. One, I'm just interested in Twitch in general. I'm interested in building my presence on Twitch, whatever that turns out to be. And it would be nice if people came to the channel. And of course, there's money. Look at all the money. 15 G's for grand prize. So you've got three prizes. You've got 4 honorable mentions, so 7, and then a popular choice 8. So 8 opportunities. So basically it looks to me like 8 extensions, although there could be overlap here. 7 or 8 extensions will make money. And I would maybe assume that they would promote more than that, or have like feature them in other ways. I don't know. I don't know quite how that's going to pan out. So it seems worth doing. And it seems like something that's worth streaming. Some of the tooling makes it a little weird to do that. And maybe the weirdest part about this is the requirement to use AWS. And that's something I'm actually slightly worried about on it, just because some of the ideas I have, the main idea I have, seems like it could potentially be costly. So I'm curious about what's the lifespan beyond this? Like, will Twitch just take it over or something? I don't know. Because I don't want to I kind of want to do this and make the weird thing that I want to make, but I don't want to maintain it in a substantial way, you know, unless, who knows, maybe I could monetize it. Anyway, I'm not too worried about that stuff. Here's what I was thinking about. I think I talked about it on stream. I had a few ideas on what I would like to tackle in this realm. And some of the things I like, so I've had projects in the past, like this one, for example. Nope. That was about kind of an inversion of attention. So in this case, the idea was, normally you think of web analytics and web traffic as funneled into the website owner, and then the web content is what goes to the user. And in my case, with my portfolio, which is what this is representing here, it's sort of like, oh, okay, well, I have this website and it's up and people go there to learn about me, but I don't have a ton of room to learn about those people, except for in like really dry analytics, Google Analytics world, like just cut and dry numbers, treating people like a commodity sort of thing. And I just wasn't super interested in that. And so the idea of this project, I did this with Lauren Judah years ago, was to say, well, what if people come to this site to learn about me? What if I want to go learn about them? And so the whole premise is sort of, I can see all my traffic for the month of January. I can just pick places, boil it down to a city, learn about that city. Where is it? What's going on there right now? What time is it? Wikipedia articles. I'm pretty sure at one point I had the weather. That API maybe has gone offline. Who knows? I haven't worked on this in years. But the general idea I thought was kind of cool. And so that's kind of what I've been thinking for a Twitch extension, is a way to, as a person who's streaming, you've got chat, which chat's a weird one, right? Like at certain scales, it works really well. At the low end, it's maybe borderline awkward because there's very few to none in the chat. At the very high end, it's just this like spewing chaos. And I'm sure there are chats that are like provide actual discourse, but there's other ways. I'm sure there's other ways for communication back upstream from the audience. And I know there's ways of like cheering and bits and emotes and various extensions that do things like that. So that's all great. And I was thinking in that realm of like, how do you send stuff back upstream? So what I am thinking, and it might be a bad idea, and I already can see this being abused, and I'm just ignoring that fact for now, is kind of a real-time heat map. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I don't know exactly how it's going to function, but the general idea is in a Twitch stream. Is there anything secret on screen? I don't think so. I don't think client ID is very secret. This thing tried to dox me earlier because it like makes you very carefully put in this secret, and then it just like spewed that secret out on this command line here where it was very visible. Cool, Twitch. Weird tools. Let's find this weird thing, the extension sandbox, this thing. So here's their sort of like basic tool of starting where you can play around with their different kinds of extensions, of which I think there are 3 major categories. There's panels, which appear down here, and you can interact. There are components, which end up being sort of, I would maybe describe them almost as like modal windows that appear on top of the Twitch screen, or on top of the video feed, sorry. Or there are overlays that have more flexibility and it can be bigger. I don't think that this little dude allows for overlays. Extension backend. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't realize that would be included. And so to understand the architecture of this, because it can get a little complicated, is this sort of thing. The way this works, it doesn't have to have all these pieces, but these are the pieces that I need in particular, since there's that requirement, as near as I understand, that requirement to use some AWS service. So like, here's your browser. There's the video in the browser. In this case, it's a video overlay. Is that in here? Showing the types of extensions? Yeah, the types of extensions. Some of the stuff they do a poor job of visualizing, but video overlay extension renders on top of video player as a transparent overlay. Maybe it's in the designing of the extension that they actually visualize some of this stuff. Man, I feel like this documentation, okay, this kind of helps. Maybe this, I think. So this world sort of shows the sandwiching effect of how the content is presented. So there's the video content. There is whatever your iframe-based, JavaScript, HTML-based world is going on in this layer. And then, of course, the Twitch controls are on top of that because those are first-class citizens, and you can't obscure those. And that's why they kind of recommend, like, well, you sort of got to be careful of this area because this stuff is really going to be on top of what you're working on. But I'm sort of planning to ignore that. So going back to, oh my God, we're never going to find it now. We're never going to find it. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, okay, this. So that's this world. Front end, JavaScript, HTML. That ends up in that sandwich. And that seems relatively straightforward. I mean, it's just front end web development at a certain point. An additional part of that is this extension helper, which offers some that's provided by Twitch, and you have to include it. This thing right here. Must import the extension helper created and hosted by Twitch, which provides methods for dealing with authentication, receiving notifications, stream properties, listening to pub sub events. So that's the Twitchness of your extension sort of comes in through there, and it all lives in there. So that part's pretty straightforward for the front end. For the back end, as near as I can tell, there's kind of two pieces of this. One is this, the extension backend service. And that's just a web service created by the extension developer. It's just anything. It's just a backend web service. It's not hosted by Twitch. In this case, I guess I need to host it on AWS. And it's, they say, write whatever language you want, whatever. Like, it is just, it's backend code that does whatever you need to do on the back end. The one kind of useful piece, and actually it's weird that they have these as separate branches, because I think really this should be looped together. Because when you do stuff in your front end world, you can obviously connect to your back end however you want, kind of, because you wrote this code, and this code is just gonna call whatever it needs to call on the extension backend service. It's just gonna do its thing. For the backend service to talk back to the front end, however, I guess you could presumably talk to people straight through here, like through a web service or something. How do I want to put it? There's a word for this. There's a word that I want that I'm totally blanking on. It's not bilingual. It's like a bidirectional thing. There's a word for this. Anyway, some bidirectional web protocol. In my mind, WebSockets comes to mind. I'm sure there's other ways. But Twitch provides this thing where you can sort of not have to deal with the burden of that. Meaning, if you want to send something to every single person in a channel, you don't have to do it individually, which is good from a back-end perspective. You can just send something to broadcast, and then Twitch will, using this pub subworld, let you kind of talk to your front-end code. So there really is a closed loop here. And this is a little weird going outward, because really this is coming into the, I don't know, this diagram doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So cool, that makes sense. Have I even described the thing I want to make on this stream yet? I'm not even sure if I did. However, in general though, regardless of what the specific idea is, if you want a networked experience, you can have everybody on the front end doing whatever they want. It's got to filter into the back end in some sane way that is totally up to you to architect. Like, Twitch doesn't really offer anything free there. And then that thing, when it wants to talk to everybody again, spits it out here, and it goes back into pub subworld. So we have kind of a closed loop there. This side is really appealing. Like, this seems super easy. It's like, oh great, that's fantastic. We don't have to worry about talking to everybody. We don't have to worry about maintaining all these connections for potentially thousands or tens of thousands of users or whatever. We don't have to worry about that on the outgoing communication side, on like the sending from this side. So that's good. The thing we do have to worry about, which just kind of sucks, is communication the other way. We do have to have a service that I don't even know what to guess. Like looking at some of the more popular streams, there could be thousands or tens of thousands of people, I guess. I don't know. Especially across all channels, like all of Twitch. It's hard for me to even guess what a reasonable estimate would be for load during a busy time on Twitch, but I could see it being very high. So that's the part of this that I'm kind of like, ugh, because it seems like that could get real expensive real quick. And without a clear way to monetize this or any business associated with it, just as like sort of a weird art project I want to make that maybe somebody else would want to take over, I don't know. I can't maintain that, and so it's not going to happen. I even wonder if there's like some free-ish way to do it. I don't know. I don't know. I guess if I won the 15 G's, that could pay for it for a minute, but I wouldn't want to spend all that maintaining the service. So I don't know. Anyway, this is kind of all a weird thing, but I'm super interested in it. And in particular, I'm like teaching a workshop in a couple months about interactive live streams and just ways to allow for interactive audience and engagement. And so much of that so far, you know, stuff that I've done in that realm has just been chat focused. Just like have a chat bot, watch the chat, follow commands, things like that. I haven't done a ton of that, but we did a fair number of experiments with things like musical chat and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess that's that. So I guess I'm going to start talking about my idea. Nobody steal it. I think it'll be a pain. It shouldn't be too hard. Really the execution of this idea, dead simple. The scaling and like building this as a reliable, scalable web platform, super annoying. Like that's the part that my eyes are slightly glazing over. And honestly, that I probably will not put a ton of effort into. I just won't. I will do my best. I have an idea on a first pass of that. I have an idea on how to make it small-ish, I think, like where it's not just crazy. You know, looking at something, if we look at like AWS Node, I think there is services used and costs. So here's an example of a Node.js application, which is probably what I would have. This has EC2, which is the Elastic Cloud stuff. Like that's where we're running the instances, and we need like scalability there. I don't exactly know how that. I've never done that kind of stuff on AWS. I usually use Heroku for that kind of thing, where scalability is really easy. And usually when I write stuff like that, it's written for short events, not like an always available on-demand service. But load balancing, we'd need. I mean, if we're going to build this in a big way. This project uses 2 load balancers transferring 10 gig a month. This will cost. That's a little weird because this seems to counter this. So load balancing, I guess we're going to connect. We've got whatever our EC2 instances are, and we need some way to balance our connections to those. So, okay. The DynoDB is, I don't think we would use that actually. Maybe, I don't know. It's been a long time since I was really focused on database backend stuff. Years ago, I worked on like MySQL servers and MS SQL servers. More recently, I try to have nothing. I've done some Mongo stuff, I guess, but I try to either have nothing or maybe Redis. Redis, I like pretty well. AWS, they do provide Redis, so that's what I'm imagining. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the right answer is here. This is going to be part of the robustifying stage, though, because the base implementation of this does not require a persistent data store. Even the full version of it doesn't require persistence. It can all be in memory. I just don't know if that's best. I don't know, like, cost-wise, Redis versus DynamoDB. I wouldn't imagine that being super huge, but who knows. Yeah, okay, this is the details of this is the, like, hosting world. Is EC2 this whole stack? Like, I'm a little confused. So those are the instances, but as far as, like, actually defining the environment is Beanstalk. Some kind of auto scaling. I don't even know actually how what AWS's solution to scaling like that is, because Node doesn't really scale in terms, I mean, it's like a single thread that's just doing its thing. Heroku, for example, just spins up new dynos, but each of those dynos is totally independent of each other. So I don't know. They have some ways to add threading, but I don't know what the solution is. The simple notification service, I don't think we need this, because if we were going to do it ourselves, I guess ourselves, and not use that pub sub thing, we would probably use this, but I think we actually don't need this. So that's cool. And then S3 is where we would store the stuff. I don't think we have to do that unless you have to use S3, unless you have to use that for like the hosting of your backend assets, because our front end assets, I believe, get hosted on by Twitch. And this is tiny too. Like, this is tiny. That would be negligible. The stuff that seems like it's potentially costly is okay, there's no Elastic Beanstalk. So that's not where the charge is. The charge is really here. So 2 micro instances, $20 a month. The load balancing, surprisingly costly. Which is weird, because when you look up here, using the default configure, the total cost of launching a Node.js stack will vary depending on your usage configuration settings. Using the default configuration recommended in this guide will typically cost $27.42 if you are within the AWS free tier. Your use case may require different configurations that can impact your bill, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, like, it's not weird that it says just this thing will cost $36, but this says it will be $27 a month. What's the truth, Amazon? So I have not been through this. I've done some AWS stuff, but not this particular flow for hosting a Node.js application, because again, I use Heroku because it's really easy and very cheap. In fact, initial testing on this, I may just use Heroku because it is, again, easy and cheap. And it seems like it's just easier there for me to just throw something up, validate it, and then worry about the robust hosting solution, I guess. But we don't need to worry about that part yet. We are just worried about the idea, which I still have not described. So here's the idea. I've watched streams. Okay, so we talked about the global view, which I'm still kind of interested in. I kind of want to do that. Maybe I will still do that. The geolocation seems a little annoying. And also that just seems like a little bit of a, I don't know. It's like a coffee table piece. Like, it's something that you could look at on stream and be interesting, but it doesn't really contribute to what's going on in the stream. So in the spirit of that, though, the way that created kind of a heat map, I was thinking of just a visual heat map on the screen of people's clicks. I don't think this exists. I hope it doesn't exist, because I'm going to start making it. I guess if I find it does exist, then I will pivot to the other idea. But the general idea is that you can click anywhere on the video that isn't already owned by the Twitch overlay. You know, this stuff is going to swallow any of these clicks, but I can click all these other places. I just can't click anywhere that is already Twitchy. Ooh, double clicking turns into a video though. It's gonna be a little tricky. When I double click an overlay, it does not. Yeah, we gotta see how that works. because that could actually be like make people mad. I don't know. I think we're just gonna start on this. Maybe it just turns out to be untenable and we give up, right? Like we just say, forget it. Okay, so the idea is you click here. Everybody's clicking as much as they want. The channel, along with the XY coordinates, go to the backend. The backend stores some kind of data store that says, hey, this is where people have clicked for a given channel. And every 1 second sends that data out to the channel. And then right now, I think that it gets rendered on the channel because that pub sub thing sort of lets us just send to everybody kind of for free. The payload size can be 5 kilobytes. That seems large enough. Depends on how many people click, I guess. I don't know. We'd have to think about that a little bit because that's... I don't know if that gets... I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's any compression on that or like... You do have to send it as a JSON payload because it uses this JSON web token stuff that I have never touched in my life, but we can probably figure it out. Like, what are we talking in terms of some file sizes here? Okay, this README, for example, is 5K. This markdown is 5K. So just as an example, I mean, this is a lot of text. So if we sent, we'd need just a long list of pairs, of XY pairs. But again, since it's JSON, you have a bunch of extra overhead. Like even saying, oh, it's comma separated, or it's sub objects with XY coordinates, like that stuff you pay a price for in a payload size. So we'd kind of need something that was smart enough, one, to only send once per second, because that's as much as you can send, and two, I guess, to just throw things away if they were bigger than the size. Like it would just have to sort of like, this is the maximum amount of data we can afford. Sorry, we just can't send anymore. Which if everybody in the chat could only ever click once, we just had to come up with some estimates of like, what does it look like if 100 people click in that 1 second window, whatever. Yeah, we need a little bit of, like, this is where some of the data store stuff gets a little weird. Like as far as like, sometimes we got to clean out that cache. We got to clean out, I mean, we have to clean out that queue of, here's all the people that clicked in this amount of time. Let's bake that down into one payload that we're going to send 1 per second and then render it on the front end. I guess alternatively, instead of sending out like that, we could send out in some other way that did not go directly back into the Twitch overlay, but was displayed in some way that the channel, so that the streamer could add as an overlay in OBS or something like that. That seems more flexible to do weird things, especially if we wanted to do like weird WebGL things where we just don't have to worry quite as much about living in Twitch world. Maybe that's an alternate option. Maybe. Anyway, things to think about. So let's look at some stuff. So this is their hello world example. Did I adequately describe that idea? I think I did. We'll figure it out anyway. This is their hello world example. And this is the front end code. So the front end JavaScript, all the front end stuff is here in public. Some of these file names I think are kind of dictated by Twitch. Video overlay, I think, for example. And you could see like it's a minimal thing. It's just a tiny little web page. It includes that Twitch file that we saw as necessary. Any external libraries has to be packaged with the extension and it has to get uploaded to Twitch in a weird way. I think you have to like zip it and send them an upload. That's parts of this process are very I don't know, not streamlined feeling, unfortunately. But, you know, like I said, they're working on it. Simple HTML page. This is the code it's at least very similar to what we were seeing here, where it's like, hey, you click a color. And this color actually does send to a back end and come back to the front end. And it like presumably keeps you from clicking too much, although this one sort of doesn't look like it's doing that. I can't run that test locally currently, but that's okay, because this really all it does is lets you click. I think we can't even see any of the back end code here. Yeah, the panel version that ran down there is here. A little bit of CSS, no big deal. That's just included in the, somewhere's a link, I would assume. Why don't I see it? Well, look, they're lying. They are using external code here in their example. How dare they? Maybe viewer CSS is a special file. Looks like you don't have to include it. Who knows? Where did all our documentation go? Go to documentation. I can imagine kind of other weird things to do here if we can click directly on the thing, but let's start with just start with the thing I'm imagining. Where does it tell us the file names and stuff? I think the file names are special. I might be wrong about that. Look at all this stuff. So much text, so many steps. Where do the mobile extensions even work? I'm not sure that this is gonna work there. There's the web token stuff. Configuration service is just like Twitch will host some like configuration state for you, in addition to hosting the static assets. I'm still confused. Bits. You could incorporate bits in some way. That gets pretty weird. Like, I don't know. I don't want to like charge people to click or something like that. I cannot remember where you set the file names. They must be special because you can go in here and do extension views. Create a view, and it knows. Okay, I just have to look this up, I guess. What is it? Video underscore overlay. Because you just point it to a folder. Okay, extensions boilerplate. Oh, that's handy. Maybe I should grab these boilerplates. Don't you think there should be documentation somewhere if there are magical file names? I think these file names are magic. I don't see the CSS in here, however. Maybe that's not magic. This is React stuff. We don't want React. Does it really not matter? Is that just defined somewhere? Okay, those are the URLs. Okay, it's defined here. That makes more sense. Okay, cool. So let's just start messing with this, I guess. Some of the stuff, like the ability to test locally, there's just things that don't feel great. So let's start breaking everything, I think. So I had been experimenting with that local version. I don't think we want to do that anymore. I think we're going to just have our own public folder. We're not even going to think about the backend at the moment. We will just do everything locally. So that, of course, does not work. Okay, we're in this world. Anything in this hierarchy is the test. Let's just make our own public folder. And let's just make a new file called this, I guess. Oops, we don't put that in the file. That would be absurd. Okay, and let's just steal the contents of the old one, I guess. Viewer, that looks like local JSON. What if you have to do any of that? I wouldn't presume so. What is loading that? There's no CSS here. It was all a trick. These different configuration panels. That looks like a WebSocket-y thing, huh? Well, okay, yeah, ignore all that. Who cares? Okay, we're gonna have our own thing. And it's going to be broken, but that's fine. So now can we host? Yes. And what do we get? We get a little local log. We, I believe, can do extension views and create a new view. And this will be the overlay for a logged in viewer. It's interesting because I don't really know. I think in my case, we won't necessarily have different ones. I don't know that we will need different stuff. Developer rig user. I'm confused what some of these numbers mean. I don't know. Let's do a logged in viewer. Linked. Hope none of these things are secret. I don't think they are. I think only the one secret thing is secret. Okay, so now that's this view, right? And we can start messing with it, presumably. Div ID app. Does that look styled to you? Where's that purple coming from? Like, who's making this purple? Who's doing it? Wow. Wow. I mean, wow. Wow. I don't care. I don't think we'll necessarily have any text or anything like that. I think we'll just start with, wow. What are these purple boys? So this is an annoying thing. Like, I wish you could. We had that thing, this thing. I wish you could just. Why don't they just have one of these where it's like, hey, this is exactly what it looks like. This is what it looks like on video, etc., etc., etc. But you don't get to know. I don't think you can know until it is hosted. I was trying to look around for testing. Testing extensions, but bits enable, can install. Maybe you can't have it all the way big. Maybe this whole thing is a lie. Although it said hello world up there before, right? What's the secret? Why can't I see the word wow? Where's my wow? Do I need that app? That's an empty div. Oh, I didn't have the extension thing. Oops. It's kind of weird. What are they doing with their JSON up here? So that div closes. Is a list? What does that mean? This was the thing that got colored. That was just that circle. Why would you ever have this up here? Isn't it good manners to wait and have your JSON last? I mean your JavaScript. Oops. Why are you up there in purple? Why? What's the reason? Okay, I got lots of fancy stuff. Pass to the query string. Great. So all I really want to do like is this the way you're supposed to do this? Clearly not. So how to practice with everything? Or do I need to not do, I mean, am I like actually logging to some console? This thing is web-based. It is. Okay, that's working, but that's clearly not what you're supposed to be doing. So I wonder how you are actually supposed to log to that. Get out of here. I wonder how you do. I feel like we saw stuff in here. We saw messages. Let's go back to the hello world example, the front end of the hello world example. All the JavaScript's in here. Twitch.rig.log. So that must be something that is provided by our friend, the Twitch extension. Oops. Am I not doing this correctly? Invoke window.twitch-extension.rig.log to have messages appear in this console. Okay. Window.twitch.ext.rig.log. I feel like those old ones were working before. Extension loaded. Okay, now I can log in that window. Great. This must just be like queries and stuff. Like, I mean like loading. Okay, so now we can see stuff here. Maybe we don't actually need to pay much attention to that. Okay, we can load a thing. Outstanding. Let's just do something like... Man, I have not been writing JavaScript for a while. Will I remember how to do anything? Is this how this works? This is annoying. So I have to do this whole thing. Is log already a JavaScript function for like logarithmic math or something. Do something like man, oh gosh, what would we want to do? I guess we could like override console log or something like that. I don't always want to talk this. Do this whole thing. Whatever. I guess we will for now until I come up with a better idea. And then, let me be clear, I'm just making all this stuff up. Can I remember how to do anything? Is that right? Who knows? Who cares? Okay, I've clearly done something. Done something wrong. Shoot. I don't know what that app div is that's like required for something. Okay, so that is not, is it just lying? The class full height is just a made up thing. Was that something that was in that that other thing, that playground thing, or is that weird thing? This thing? Some of that stuff just in their CSS? No? We'll just make up our own. I mean, I don't know if any of these are matter or if these are just made up things. Like, fixed, maybe. That's the wrong order for that, but hey. Okay, get out of here. You can stay. Okay. What? Oh, that's not my favorite color. Forgot the 9-9. Okay, now we have a whole thing here. And I've just done this wrong. Is it on click in JavaScript? I guess first I'm making the assumption that I did this correctly. I didn't, because I changed its name. Still seems wrong, right? Document.get element by ID. Not the way to do this? What silly thing am I doing incorrectly? It could be anything. Or it could also actually be working. Add event listener. Stick it in a function. Don't you need to accept an event? Oh, you think it's only there? I've got my div because I've got the whole background. Danthus, thank you for trying to help. Am I not able to do this? Is it not like patching, sending things through? Is click not valid in this context? Well, I feel like I don't even have my div right. I assume. I mean, unless this thing doesn't know how to log objects, which I guess is a possibility. Like, I don't know what their logger is capable of logging. If we cheat, oh, look at this, bad. That looked bad. Okay, that looks like I have a div. Weird. Do what? Object could not be cloned. Why are you so mad at me? Is event not a thing? Is that like not actually? I thought I got the click event in there. Okay, I'm getting clicks now. Cool. So it can seemingly this logger, this window Twitch extension rig log is for text logging only. So maybe for this I could do like that instead, and then it wouldn't be an object. Or maybe not. Oh, no. Sorry. I can still do this, right? This. I need to just write a little wrapper for that. Okay. Just lovely. But how... We need the click event, and I'm forgetting that. That's a clong. No, okay. I thought it was a parameter of the dude of the out event listener of the callback. Is that not true? Like, how can I know my event code? I just made it up. I've been switching languages too much. That's the event. That's the function. Oh, I can just have it, right? Do I have to do anything fancy? It's an event XY, get element. I thought that's okay. You're right. That's what I had previously, and then I thought it broke because of that, but it broke for other reasons. Yeah. So we just need the client X and client Y. So yes, we will get like client X and event client. How's it going, Danthus? Twitch rig is doing something. Who knows what it's doing? Doing something weird. I think as long as I cram in some strings, it'll be happy. Okay, cool. So are these like no man's land? I can't click in these purple areas. I wonder if those are truly reserved or if that's just an example, because maybe it is, which is slightly annoying for my entire concept, but that's okay. So yeah, we lose 100 pixels on top. And 80-ish pixels on the bottom. That's not the end of the world. I think we can deal with that. Okay, so I want to never be able to select things. What's the CSS for that? Used to be a browser-specific goofy thing. Maybe I can just do this now. Okay, that's a little better. We don't need that text anymore. In reality, this would be whatever. Are these 8-bit values? I can't remember. Get out of here, you. Must not be. What is the alpha 01? 256, yeah. So alpha is a float? That looks right here. Why doesn't it look right here? Dude, that's cool. Look at this fancy Visual Studio Code color selector. Whoa, how did I do that? I don't even know how I made that work now. Great. Wait. Okay. It even changed it from being alpha. We're not happy with alpha here? No, that's working. Okay. Okay, so that's really the basic idea for the capturing. I mean, simple enough. What we do here is somewhere in this land, I think we can do it without this now. Get over there. Get over there. That's not where you belong. Yeah, so this is really just the input for the click. Easy enough. And this would be like whatever they call the thing, their extension, either EBS. What do they call that thing? Oh no, I can't find it. The extension backend service. So this is where we would like send clicks to the extension backend service, which is going to just be some node thing, and that thing will just maintain some kind of data store. We'll just do some silly in-memory thing initially. Later, we will probably change it to something like Redis and make it less dumb later on. And then we need a way to render, like a way for the extension, that EBS server to call back to the front end. And do we care that much about doing this way right now? Also, how do we want to draw this? The easy answer would be probably just a canvas with a graphics context. Well, it gets a little tricky because you kind of want it to fade over time, which is a little weird to do with a heat map. So you wouldn't just do like, you know, write the buffer to itself every frame with the alpha lower or something like that. You want something more selective, but you probably wouldn't want to try to manually redraw it every time. That seems slow-ish. I guess it wouldn't be too bad. I think I don't know how much. If you make a WebGL context, you can do it all GPU accelerated, and it would be quite snappy. If you don't do that, I'm not sure how fast you could make it. I'm not exactly sure how I'd want to draw it. My general instinct would probably be to do a WebGL thing. But for now, let's just make it really easy. There's something weird about canvases though and their sizes, I think, because I think the canvases, the like actual whatever pixel buffer, the context of the canvas, its resolution is independent from the resolution it's drawn at. So if you just set some CSS up here, you can draw it like, you can just draw it like full size, you know, like a responsive thing. But then you would have to also have callbacks that would actually change the size of it. And I think when you do that, it clears it, which is a little annoying now that I think about it. So maybe you do need to redraw it every frame. Let's not worry about that yet. I might be remembering this incorrectly also. I'm gonna do the same nonsense here. Oh, Canvas actually has alpha. I think you can do this. Where's my canvas? What'd I forget? Oh, well, part of the problem is this very problem. I did it as an ID. That's probably one of the reasons that I can't see it. There we go. Outstanding. Okay, so now, just as a silly example, we want to say, ignoring the whole server world, the loop of server world, we will just directly call this here clicky. And in here, we need something like var context equals canvas dot. Now, first we need a canvas. Document element. I could really get jQuery and make all this easier, but hey, we'll do it the hard way. Context 2D? This is context. I can't remember. My background, interactive artist, sort of. Long-term background as a software developer. Then moving into like art and design. I do tons of stuff with Unity now. That's been my like main focus is interactive experiences, tons of VR and AR stuff. So I'm a bit rusty on the web stuff. I have to admit. I would say, I mean, my longer term background is software development. I haven't done web dev for a while, so I'm feeling a bit rusty on it. But most of what I do now is like 3D real-time interactive stuff. Most of the web stuff that I've done in recent time was very heavily focused on WebGL and 3JS. Not much application stuff for a really, really long time. Let's see. So half of this is just me remembering how to deal with a 2D graphics context. Oh, and remembering that there is no circle. You just have to draw an arc, and you have to fill in arc. So we want a filled arc. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like, I would say early on, like sort of my professional focus, I guess, was more on software development engineering side. But that was only because I didn't really know about kind of, I guess, what now is sort of called creative technology. Like that concept didn't exist as much at that time. And so I had sort of my like technical computer world life. And then separate from that, I had my art and design life. And then later in my 20s, I went and got my undergrad degree as in design, motion design specifically. And then around that time, I started realizing like, oh, I can actually do both things. I can do technically driven design experiences. And then my master's is in interactive telecommunications, which is kind of a nonsense title. But again, so much of that has been focused on Unity as of late. And I can barely even remember how to do this stuff. Yeah, it's not context. That's what I remember. You do have to get the 2D context. And then we want to like do something silly like this. You got to start somewhere, right? I know you can. I love the multi-select in other software. I can't remember how to do it in Visual Studio. Like how Sublime will just let you draw a box. How do you do that in Visual Studio? I know there's a way. I got to get better. I'm relatively new to Visual Studio. And I just forget those handy tricks, but let's not learn it right now. So we'll give it a click X and a click Y. And we'll just draw, for now, a 50 pixel box, and it's going to be wrong. I guess we could do like -25 to center it. These are just all ways to test stuff. No, don't refresh that whole thing. Okay, great. This looks totally wrong. What did we do wrong? Inside here, let's draw this. Let's assume that we got the context correctly. Let's assume we got the canvas correctly. What am I forgetting? It's not logging at all. What silly thing have I done? I kind of feel like I need to just keep these developer tools available. Can I pop this thing out in some way? No? Yes? Come out here. Yes. Great. Oh, that's just because I did a bad job. Right, because that's not what these are called at all yet. Those variables don't exist. Of course it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. Okay, great. So we can draw squares everywhere. Outstanding. So, are these really disabled? I don't want them to be. What I had hoped, so again, looking at that documentation, it looked like in this designing section, is that where it was? It was in building. Now, I mean, you know, they make it clear that you've got to be careful of those areas, but I didn't realize if this was like fully reserved. If you have extension UI elements over the Twitch video player, interactions with those elements may not work. Here's a diagram of areas to consider when you design. I wonder if those are just like rule of thumb areas. Like if you actually can be okay in here, or if you truly are not allowed. That's not how you spell it all. Twitch extension. I can't spell anything. This thing is so weird. I wish you could just actually use this thing. You know, like looking at this, pretty funny that to watch an ad in the extension sandbox. I don't know, maybe there's like, it doesn't seem like my clicks are getting eaten here, but maybe they are. Like when I double click there, it takes me to an advertisement. Okay, if I click anywhere in there, I go to this advertisement. If I click up here, I go to the advertisement. If I click down here, I do not go to the advertisement. Looks like the advertisement starts above the, that's a weird one, above some invisible height that seems less than 80 pixels, maybe not. Double clicking here does nothing. Double clicking down here takes me full screen. So maybe that is, maybe it's true. Maybe those truly are those that 100 pixels on top and the 80 pixels I have no control over. I think I can live with that. I think this concept is still potentially interesting and funny. I don't know. Okay, so this is all locally based. So it kind of makes me think that maybe this is where we start writing our backend. And again, the thing that will happen with the backend is we will send clicks to the backend here. And then on the front end, we will use that pub sub setup, this dude, listen for broadcasts, and they do twitch.rig.log. How come they can do that? Do they like, oh, they do this right here. Ha ha ha. Because who wants to type this every time? Yes, we're on the same page, Twitch, great. Okay, so I'm gonna assume, I don't know if my scope is gonna be weird. Twitch, like that's making that assumption that that exists here, but I guess it would. I guess it would. Okay, so now we can downsize these slightly. That feels a little less gross. Okie dokie. We got little blobs. Those are much bigger than they need to be. Let's do 30, 15, 15 maybe. Okay, very exciting. I can make weird ladybugs. Square, circle, square ladybugs. What is the way to do circles? There's no circle. You have to do arcs, I'm pretty sure. So you have to draw an arc and then fill it. So it has coordinates and it has a radius. What are the parameters for arc? So many parameters. Yeah, the start angle, the end angle. And then, yeah, well, that's easy enough. So this would be quick X, whatever. Let's give it a radius. Click minus half the radius. And click Y minus half the radius. That's bad. And the radius. Start angle is 0. 2 pi is just 360 degrees in radians. I did it wrong. I did it super wrong. What silly thing did I do? Good grief. Good grief. I need, I wonder if I could, I gotten spoiled a little bit by whatever that thing is, OmniSharp, like C# stuff. I'm sure there's some JavaScript checker, like some JavaScripty thing in Visual Studio that'll be like, hey dude, you can't do the thing you just did, that variable was undefined. I don't want code snippets. Standard JS, oh, very fancy. Is there a thing to just like run and make sure that I'm not doing anything stupid? I'm sure there is. But for the moment, let's just continue to write bad code. Okay. Well, great. And while we're at it, let's just make this black, and then we will have version 1 of our ladybug generator, just what we wanted. You know, when I think about, when you think about heat maps, the easy thing to say is like, how do you do that? Some like gradient ramp thing? Like an easy way to do a heat map is to just say, draw little blobby sprites in an additive way, and then when the additiveness happens, it will just automatically be hotter. Like that's a pretty easy thing to do. And I think you can do blend mode stuff like that with Canvas. Without setting up building linting tools. Yeah, that's okay. I can live with that, I think. I've done stuff like that before where like you write everything, even front end code, you write it all, you like set up a, how have I done that? Like where you can use Babel, I guess. I've done it with Babel before, where you have like a fancy JavaScript ES6 environment with, but still even there I would only get errors like at its transcode. Is that the right thing? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I need to get that fancy because I feel like this front end is going to be pretty simple. Yeah. I think you're right. I think we can draw little ladybugs without it. What I would kind of like, so the additive thing is interesting because I wonder if, probably not, right? This thing is just going to sit on top of video, and I don't know if we do additive, like, let's see. I'm kind of getting a little ahead of myself. Yeah, you can set the global composite operation on the context when you draw this whole world. So like we would want to do something like this, where we could draw additively, and then kind of hot spots would get hotter. Assuming we do it, I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to do it all in WebGL. Is that crazy? This seems easier for managing. It could be a bunch of sprites or little quads, and they could animate around and be weird. Because this way, unless you're drawing every frame, which doesn't sound great, it gets a little weird in terms of like wiping the frame. But maybe you don't. Maybe just every frame you draw the buffer you have on top of itself at a slightly lower alpha, and then just fade it out a little every frame. I've seen stuff like that work. Should I do it all in WebGL? I might. That seems like a little weird and overkill for this, but maybe it's the way to go. I've done lots of. I am a big fan of 3JS. Okay, so next question is, do we keep fussing with this, or do we start building out a little bit of backend? I think I want to build just a little bit of backend, like just start carving that out a tiny bit. Because that's the most complicated part of this whole project is the backend stack is going to be like annoying with all the AWS stuff. So how did they do it? Let's just copy whatever they did. So they have a public folder. They just have a backend JS. So that just gets called use a managed service. What service are you thinking? So one of the things, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the stream, is this is a light sail? I didn't look at light sail. Well, maybe, although I was thinking I want, maybe. So I was looking at like EC2 because it's really just going to be a single node script. I don't know that I need like a more robust environment than that, right? Like, don't EC2. Don't EC2. Why not? I just don't want to have to maintain a server for this silly contest. I mean, I can, I guess. But I thought with Beanstalk, like looking at this thing, it seemed like Beanstalk made it easy to deploy a node application. Is this the thing? That's not what I want. I am super not familiar with AWS world. I really like places like Heroku where it's like you just hook up Git and it just instantly works, which Amazon does not seem to quite provide, but I thought Elastic Beanstalk could do that for you. Like, does Lightsail have something that I can just like? I don't need a full LAMP stack. I just want some tiny like little virtual blob that has Node.js in it. Are there more? It doesn't have to be lampy. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess I could set up like a Docker image that did this stuff. Send me a picture? Sure. I just want the absolute easiest way to get a Node.js application running on Amazon servers, basically. Like, I don't want to have to maintain anything more complicated, really. Like, what I would love is just to say, hey, here's the Git repository that has this Node script with its with the package JSON to tell you what to start, and then Amazon's like, cool, you got it, let's run it. Do they require AWS? Yes, unfortunately, is part of the contest. So this is a dev post Twitch extension. If it didn't require AWS, I would almost no question be using Heroku, because Heroku makes it so easy. But yeah, the whole thing is that you have to use AWS. Although something just occurred to me. Is this a bad idea or a good idea? This might be a good idea. What does it actually say? What is the rule? Can I obey the letter of the law? Okay. Remember, you must integrate at least one AWS service to be eligible. But what if I did this? What if I think this is what I'm going to do. What if I just do it? What if I host the Node application on Heroku, where it's super easy and it makes my life so easy, but for the persistent data store, use AWS Redis? Because I need some way, because I'm going to be taking in all these clicks from all these people and then sort of blobbing them together into packets that get sent out every second. Which I think I've used Redis for that kind of thing before as like a data store behind Node, just so when you have a million Node instances, they can still kind of communicate reasonably. I think I'm going to do this. That's kind of what I felt like. Like, this is going to be such a simple little thing, and I don't want to get into super complicated world with it. Now, Node, I'm sorry, Heroku is really great. So most of the time when I do stuff like this, it's for performances or for like short, like interactive experiences where the servers are only spun up for a narrow window and then they spin down. And so I actually haven't had to pay for a ton of Heroku dynos running simultaneously, and that can get a little expensive. Also, the Heroku doesn't auto scale. It can. I don't know. Maybe I'm probably too worried about like scalability for such a simple goofball little thing. Like, this is just going to be a little thing that hopefully get some attention in a contest, but I probably should not be worried about making it like scalable for all of Twitch. So that's what I think I will do. Thank you, Danthus. Thank you for calling me, like pulling me back from the cliff's edge on going too deep on AWS. I think I'll just do a super simple Heroku thing, like proof of concept-y thing. I'll use Amazon's Redis. So then I am using an AWS service to qualify. And then if it actually seemed necessary, it would not be crazy to come up with some solution to move everything over to AWS. Okay, good. I like that better. Good, because I was kind of dreading this. Like, man, Heroku's so easy. Love it. I'm sure there's other alternatives for that now too. Like, I don't know, do people use Heroku? Like, what do people use for just like ad hoc hosting of Node? Did somebody post a good 2019 list yet? Best Node.js hosting, hostingadvice.com. That sounds like a reputable source. Best cheap Node hosting. I mean, I don't want virtual servers though. I want like, okay, cloud Node hosting. No, this is not what we want. This is okay. No, this was enormously unhelpful. Okay, I'm just getting caught in like SEO marketing nonsense world. For data storage, and I feel like, I mean, I don't think I need persistent data storage. I don't think I'm gonna even care. I think I'm just gonna use Redis just for like to build up a cache as people click and then flush that cache. And I mean, that seems like a good thing to use AWS for. And yeah, that's the thing that makes the thing work, even though it's sort of the most boring part. I use DigitalOcean for other stuff, but again, I want to just like magically, yeah, DigitalOcean's good. I'm into DigitalOcean. I don't, that's what I like. I host my portfolio on DigitalOcean. I haven't really used it for like application-y kinds of hosting. I haven't really, like, that's still like, I assume when I host Node there, they still like set up a Linux environment and then I'm... Oh, they have a one-click approach like Heroku? That's interesting. That's good to know. I like Heroku though. I'll probably just start with Heroku because that's what I know how to use. Look at this. They say AWS. Oh my gosh, number one. Number one for Elastic Beanstalk. But that's like provision of virtual machine. Oh no. Actually, they're saying go with Elastic Beanstalk. I think Elastic Beanstalk is like kind of their approach to that. But I don't know enough about it. Oh, now you're right. DigitalOcean, one click. That's cool. But what if I don't want to click? My personal favorite. Yeah, because you don't even have to click. You can just push and have it auto deploy. I remember seeing OpenShift. I don't know anything about it. I've never used any Google Cloud stuff, but that presumably exists. I've not heard of platform.sh. Sorry for blowing right into the microphone. Excuse me. Elastic Beanstalk. Do you do what I want? Do you do the thing that I want you to do? Capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto scaling. So the thing, that's just one of the things that I'm not crazy about with Heroku is the auto scaling solutions. But that's probably just like lack of experience because my auto scaling has been like, oh, go log in and then drag it over. Okay, the Google Cloud one. Is that what GCP is? The Google Cloud one? What's the P? What's the P mean? I think I'll start with Google Cloud Platform. The P is for platform, of course it is. Okay, so looking at their backend, there's so much stuff that's just like boring. Boring, important things like what actually goes on in this thing? Okay. I don't even know what some of these things are. What some of these node modules are. Bunch of variables, a bunch of strings. Yeah, the certificate stuff, I believe, is required. What is happy? Happy server? Yeah, build it and worry about the stuff later. I think that's good. That is a good thing. Happy, a rich framework for building applications and services. I've never used that before. I was just going to use Express for the web part. Do I need Happy? Is Happy important? Yeah, Express is okay. Maybe I'll just go with Express because that's what I have some experience with. Happy versus Express. This one has charts and graphs, so that's important. Wait, I was told there would be charts and graphs. Ah, yes. The charts and graphs. Yes, I see. Happy has a smaller graph. I guess that's good. Yeah. Well, yeah, so I guess that's the question is like, is there any advantage to me using Happy just because that's what the examples use and it might make my life slightly easier, but it doesn't seem like it would make that big of a difference. I guess part of this is just for my own, like I said, I'm pretty rusty on web and JavaScript world in general. I've been doing some Node stuff recently. Like I tend to write Node backendy stuff just because it's easy. So I feel pretty good about that part of things, but don't feel super up to date. So like if everybody uses happy now and nobody uses express anymore. Happy has more in the core. I don't care about that. Less opinionated than Happy. Happy uses plugins. Express uses middleware. Look at all that. Outrageous. I think I'll stick with Express then. Oh, higher on the chart is better. Interesting. I see. Man, what if I just don't use a... Wait, what's the comparison here? Like, what is the raw node? Is that just the HTTP server that ships with node? Is that what that chart means? What does the chart mean? Maybe I should do that. I do need a little bit of routing, stuff like that. So maybe I'm gonna use Express. Let's use Express. Okay, so certificate stuff sounds annoying. But that's just because I always feel like security stuff is annoying. Wait, don't use Express? I will hate myself for using Express? You think I will? Why will I hate myself? Oh, raw node. Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. No. Man, I don't know some of the syntax. So this is just routing kind of stuff. Is this just like an async loop? What does this mean? Oh, that's just lets us have an await, I guess. Okay. That's kind of like C# coroutine yield kind of world. Like we just loop here. Async just lets us iterate until this is finished, I guess, so we're not blocking. That's my, whoa, is that documentation? Look at that. Yeah, I'm fairly used to arrow functions, but like the async prefix, I guess, is that in here too? But async, I mean, I assume that async prefix is what allows this await, which I assume is like a yield. Like I can just spin here instead of having like needing some kind of callback or something. Okay, cool. Thank you for your help again, Danthus. Okay. Boring stuff. Async function. Asynchronous function is a function which operates asynchronously via the event loop using an implicit promise to return itself. Okay, cool. Yeah, await, resolve after 2 seconds. Okay, so that seems in line with coroutine stuff in Unity and C#. I know basically nothing about JSON. Is that JSON Web Tokens? Is that JWT? But hopefully we can just steal some of this stuff. What does boom mean? I saw a package up here called boom. Boom. Maybe we need boom. This gets called that's our that's part of our routing. So we route to these handlers. So we need something along those lines, but I think we'll do it more with express instead of happy. This color broadcast is the way, yeah, all this stuff is that, why can't I remember the name of the thing? The ESB, is that what it's called? What are you called, thing? Extension Backend Service, EBS? I'll never find it. I'll never know. What the heck is that called? I have too many tabs open. I don't know what's going on anymore. I lost the thread. That thing, the EBS. I was right all along. Okay, so we want an EBS, and it will take in some clicks. So maybe the first thing we write just round trips it. Like it gets a click and it spits it right back out at you. And then we can just figure out all this other crap that we need, like all this other stuff. Do we really need this stuff? Like, do we really? I kind of don't think we do. Looking at the documentation, I don't think it's actually fully necessary. I should actually. I haven't done much node development on this machine. Come to think of it, I'm done. Let's see if I even have node installed. I do. .10.15, that seems newish, right? Maybe I did install recently. It's almost brand spanking new. 10.15.1 is the newest long-term support. And then current is what? 11.9. I think we'll stick with that for now. Okay, so I don't want to do this. Didn't I have a way to get a weird little console down here? I thought I could have like a little embedded terminal. New terminal. Yeah, this little guy. Terrific. And then presumably I can just customize the shell. Great. Actually, I would kind of like to. Can I make it bash instead? That's the Windows. That's like the Windows subsystem Linux bash. Do I have that installed? No, I don't. Oh no, now I'm trapped. Oh no. How do I break my terminal forever? Come back. PowerShell? Can we do PowerShell? That's close enough, right? It's got node. Whoa, why did my... It doesn't. What have I done? How do I... How did I get that customized thing? The customize window. Oops. This is tragedy. Can I configure your terminal, please? Configure tasks? Oh. Good grief. Visual Studio Code Customize Terminal. I thought, well, who knows? I could probably do something weird and point it to some version of Bash somewhere. I thought there was just a version of Bash that shipped with Windows now. Okay, control backtick, great. View toggle integrated terminal, great, but how do I... Yeah, the Windows Linux subsystem, I just don't have any distributions involved. But I feel like there's a bash even without that. Like if I just run bash, no, you're right. You're totally right. I do have to have that. Dang it. I thought I did that on this machine, but maybe I didn't. I should. I much prefer bash. But at the moment, I would love to just get back to a working terminal. So where was that the customize button? Extern. Well, that seems like it wants to run command.exe. Studio codes integrated. But what did I break? Like, how do I unbreak this? Guess I could also reinstall the Windows Linux subsystem. Okay, yes, great. Read more about configuring the shell. Excellent. I would love to. Can I just edit this as text and just like delete that? There's a way to do that. Show modified settings. Like, can I just not set this anymore? Reset setting. Great. Cool. What a productive. Although this is still okay, great. Love it. Okay, we have Node. Good grief. I know that little beep is a little annoying. Okay, all we wanted to do, I don't remember what I want to do now. I'm way off the rails. We were just gonna make, I guess. Now, okay, what's the right way to do this? An npm. Do I want to do that in this folder? I guess. An npm then init. Agree to everything. I should have changed that to something that wasn't index.js, but that's fine with me. Can I touch here? Good grief. Okay. Is this stuff working? I'm doing very well. What's your problem? Did I not save you? That'd be pretty funny. Where did I save this? I saved it in the public folder. Great. Okay, so we need Express, I guess. Okay, and then the question is, like, I'm very, I don't know, all the stuff I do or I've done in recent time that's like this, that's like a bunch of clients, like a many-to-one experience, I normally do with WebSockets, but I don't think I want to do that this time because I don't think there's really a reason to have like that persistent bidirectional thing. So I think we want to have like express routing, and then I gotta remember how to do variables in that world, right? We need, because we want to say like yeah, URL parameters when routing in Express.js, sure. Because what I'm sort of imagining is something like this, where the URL is like click channel name XY, something like that. Is that crazy? Is that a horrible way to do this? I mean, it could also be, so one way to do it would be like a get, I guess. Like it's just a get, and you just get that URL, or you could manufacture some kind of payload and post it. But I feel like it's probably just faster and easier to do a get like this. I just can't, off the top of my head, remember how you stick variables. Okay, so if you prefix stuff with a colon, it can be a variable. So we would want something like, let's see. So we want like a real basic Express setup. Let's just copy and paste whatever the absolute simplest hello world is. These people that don't use semicolons at the end of their lines makes me uncomfortable. Okay, and then we want like a get handler. Can I do this too? Is this okay? I just throw this on here and have something like I don't know. What? Oh, I'm still in the wrong place. Good grief. Okay, we're listening on port 3000. Don't worry, I'm just shaking off Rust here. Just shaking off Rust. It's gonna get better. It might not get better. So that's gonna be localhost 3000. So I should see my hello world, and then if I went to, is this route gonna work? Get out of here. Bookmark bar. He likes you. If I went to something like click wow slash wow slash wow. Incredibly broken. Oh yeah, because that was, of course, format doesn't exist there. Of course. Try this again. We could set up real, I don't know. It's been a while since I've set up like a good node develop environment. I don't know if I care that much. Is that not right? No, good grief. Params. That's a good move when you just copy and paste stuff and then mispaste over the thing. It would be kind of handy to, okay, cool. So that's working. So we have a way to get clicks in now. Terrific. And we need ways to send clicks out. That's going to be weird. How can we even do that locally? Huh. Is that actually going to work locally? Like their whole, like the broadcasting aspect of the backend? I think it does, because I think I did it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that's a falsehood. Okay, this is a bad thing to do. Let's also send a polite thank you note. It would be nice to have like a minimum. It'd be nice to like auto reload the node server. What's the trick for that? There's a way to like watch. Man, I can't remember any of these things. I used to have some tool that would just do that. That would watch for file changes, and then some very easy thing. NodeMon. That's not what I've used before. Is that something that is that to be installed globally? I feel like the thing I used was called maybe Bonsai. But maybe that was more complicated. So I have to do a global install of NodeMon. Well, that seems pretty easy. Oh, I can also just install it as a development dependency and then just run it that way. Well, that seems pretty freaking easy. I've got to stop pretending like this is a Unix terminal and using... Although that's weird. Like, some of the things seems to work. Like, Control L works, but Control U doesn't. I don't know. My brain keeps reading that in different ways. Sometimes I look at it and it looks like it says NodeMon, and sometimes I look at it and it looks like it says No Daemon. Not on a Linux machine, continue to be sad. I don't know, I've gotten pretty used to Windows. Really, my preference, although this preference is unfortunately fading, is macOS, because then underneath it's just Unix, and I can just do Unixy things all day, which is why the Windows subsystem for Linux is pretty cool. I just haven't done very much with it. Okay, so now can I do No Daemon? Do I need to? All right, I probably have to like know about it, right? Because I just installed it locally. Yeah, it won't be there. Can be run by calling it from within an npm script, such as node start. Okay, that would be easy enough. So I think we would do like in here, we would need a start. Yeah, something like this. What? No, do you have to do npm run script or something? I forgot. Yeah, npm run start. What did I do wrong now? Is my syntax bad? Does it have to be in this lock? I'm so confused by the package JSON lock. Is that what it's actually looking at? Oh, is it mad because I already had a scripts? That's probably why it's highlighting those things to tell me what's wrong. Cool. Great work. Everything's going great. How's this? Much better. Look at that go. Incredible. Danthus, you're optimizing my workflow. Look at, oh man, every time. Outstanding. Okay, so we got a little node server to spit things out at us. Or actually, this is like the ingestion. This is where we want to ingest. Now we need the way to broadcast. So this is what's goofy. And I don't actually know how this works because I guess I'm just a little surprised that this was working at all with the local setup on this. Their local hello world example. Okay, so here's the thing. It is this, it's all this nonsense, so much nonsense. Attempt to broadcast, and this is where they like watch for cooldowns and stuff. This is the send color broadcast. So this is the actual thing that's like, hey, let's send something. And what's crazy is I guess I will still get this in developer fantasy world, like in my totally fake lunatic land. So surely this is going to break something. Well, maybe it doesn't, because it's really just this. It's just sending a message to send color broadcast for channel ID. I feel like send color broadcast is redundant because like broadcast is already saying that you're sending, you know, like seems silly. Okay, there's gonna be so much stupid crap in here, right? All the authorization stuff is gonna suck. That's what's gonna make this annoying. It would be so easy, but I do like that pub sub thing. I think it's the right answer. We just gotta like, I guess, sort of grind through it piece by piece. So the message in this case is just going to be, I don't even know. I wonder if it has to be a string or if I can make it whatever I want. Let's just make it a string for now, I guess. The channel name we'll get in here, you know, assuming that we're sending the right thing. And I think those numbers were, I don't know what we did here. So let's delete this view. Let's create a view that is like overlay. This is for so this is the developer rig user. Well, let's use me instead. I assume that's me. And send to that channel. Okay, so where is our cool website? So what we want to do on our cool website is send a click to that channel 100 by 100. And we should get, oh yeah, super broken, great. Okay, that's fine, because I didn't do any, we didn't actually do any work here. All this stuff, oh boy. Interestingly, secret is not part of this. Maybe that's what goes on in server token. So let's just take this one piece at a time, I guess. So client ID. Previously, I believe, was provided on the command line, but I think we have that here. And I think that is safe to be public and known. I think that's not super secret private information. Nobody steal my identity, please. I think you'd be a little disappointed if you stole it. Okay, bearer prefix sounds annoying, and make server token or other things we'll need. So bearer prefix. I think it was just bearer. Yes, very good. Oh yeah, some consts, of course. Let's make them consts. And then that next thing was what? Make server token. Sounds annoying. It's down here. Create and return a JSON web token. So we need user, we need, so we really, that doesn't seem too bad. We're just missing a few things. So so we need owner ID is the thing that's missing. I assume that's a const. Channel ID is going to get passed in. So that's easy enough. Payload we just created. We're going to need secret, but secret is secret. So let's get .env for our secretive needs, and then I will try my best not to just spew that out onto the stream, but maybe I will. Okay, so really secret, owner ID, and channel ID. Maybe all we're missing here. Owner ID came from where? Owner ID was passed as a parameter. It was? Is that in my manifest? I'm not quite sure what owner ID means in this context. Owner ID. The user ID of the extension owner. Okay, so it's just me. So I need a way to get my user ID. Because I don't know that. I can use the Switch API. Oh, unauthorized. Can someone, is there an easier way? Can I just like see it in? Oh my gosh, come on. There's gotta just be an easy way. Don't make me jump through hoops just to get my own. You're killing me. Come on. Really? Just like tell me somewhere. I have too many windows open. Can this thing? Anybody? Tell me? Somebody? Nobody? Just author is in here, not my. So this ID is the, like the application's ID, it would seem, right? Let me make sure I'm not barking up the wrong tree. I don't think we need that thing. Okay, I'm gonna downsize my life a little bit. Okay, so what do we want? We need Twitch extension owner ID, and I was just looking at this Twitch extension's hello world. So client ID is the application. Yeah. The extension client ID, the secret, that's a secret. And oh, you can set environmental variables. Well, okay, that's fine, but I think we'll still use .env. You can get your client ID and secret. To get the owner ID, you need to execute a simple curl command. You'll need your extension client ID as part of the query. This will be made consistent with the developer rig shortly. Okay, well, great. So I just have to do it, but this seems easy enough. So great. Do I have curl? Yes, great. Okay, I didn't know if Windows shipped with curl. So we want some of this, and we want a little of this, and we want the rest of this. And owner name is me. Look at that, incredible. All of my most private, oh, that ID. Well, we could have gotten that ID. I knew what that ID was. When we created the extension view, when you create a view, you can say logged in viewer linked, and you can say make it current user. Is that me? Yes, that's me. Okay, so we didn't have to do any of that. We jumped through a bunch of hoops for nothing. Outstanding. So actually, while we're at it, let's just go ahead and do an npm install terminate batch job. Yes, wait, yeah, get out of here. An npm install .env, no, .env, is that what it's called? And yeah, and then we just need to make a .env file that I'm not allowed to click on stream. Don't click it on stream. I'm definitely gonna click it. I'm gonna screw up. Everybody's gonna know. It's gonna be, why did you add a .text to that? Okay, because in here, we are gonna want, let's just do it all in here. Client ID. What are the things we needed to know? Yeah. Owner ID and secret. So client ID, that was the owner ID. Client ID was this one, I believe. Okay, secret. Okay, nobody look. Everyone on stream, close your eyes. Close your eyes. How do I get this? Okay, getting the secret. Nobody look yet. Where's the stupid secret? Settings? Guess it would not be the end of the world if I showed my secret before the application was even done, but let's try not to do that. Where is the secret? Secret keys. Okay, I got a secret key. I can create or revoke if I need to. So it will not be the end of the world when I inevitably accidentally show this. Okay. Now I forgot the syntax. How do I use this? Oh yeah, okay, piece of cake. I'm sorry, give me one moment, and I will... Don't look at my secret! It's an okay secret, you know. I've seen better secrets, but it's all right. Okay, so now we just need to... Give me one moment. I'm gonna do this thing, and then I will turn the camera back on. No, oh gosh. I almost just pasted the wrong thing into a document. The very thing I wanted to hide, the very thing I wanted to make secret. Or one of the very things I wanted to make secret. Okay, close the env file, use this. I think we are now secure. I clicked the wrong thing. You couldn't even hear what I was saying. Okay, now I'm on the right place. That was silly. Okay, I think we're good on this. I think we now have many of the things we wanted, at least some of the things we wanted. So let's try to send this. It'll probably still break. Server token duration in seconds. So that's a variable name I do not like. So this is how our tokens for PubSub expire after 30 seconds. So we have to regenerate those every 30 seconds. That seems like too much, but okay. We have a channel ID. I don't like this. I don't like when people do this. I know it's maybe more correct, like more appropriately camel casey, but it's not my jam. PubSub permissions extension extension owner ID for the call to quit. It's a little weird that it gets called as you. That feels a little uncomfortable. Like I don't want it to be added like as me personally. Why is that not? But I think that was correct. I think it said like this is probably you. User ID of the extension owner. So sure. Okay, now what's broken? Client ID, right? Of course, because man, all this stuff. Don't do that. Wait, that was supposed to be channel ID. What did I do? Oh man, I blew it. So where was client ID used? Not here then. Client ID was part of here. That's in the headers that get sent. Let's like conform all this stuff to my preference while I'm at it. How do I clear this thing? Do I not? Is there no clear? Anybody? Like it's not very useful to have a terminal that I can't clear. Trash throws away the terminal. New terminal. Guess we'll never know. Okay, what's broken now? JSON web token is not defined. Of course it's not. So we were okay in the world. Seems like our make server token is borderline working. I don't necessarily understand all these pieces, but I also don't necessarily care about them. JSON web token. So is that a node package? That's what I need? Yeah. So we will need this, and we will need, yes, terminate it. Npm install JSON web, oops, JSON web token, save. And then we will tidy these things up. I assure you, at some point, we're just gonna keep doing this until it doesn't break. Okay, color. Okay. We're getting. No, of course, color is not defined. So we don't want any of this stuff anyway. We don't care about color. 51. Yeah. Wait, what's wrong? Verbose log? Yeah, of course not. Nobody likes that. Get out of here. Okay, this is create a request. Is this the right way to do this? Or is this something that we don't have? Is that a package? Do we need request? We do indeed. So npm oops. Okay. App crashed. Great. Okay. Oh, we just have more verbose logs. I don't care about that. String. Okay. Yeah, right. Of course. Great. So if there's an error, let's just say channel ID and error. Otherwise, a status code. Channel ID. Did I do that right? I think I did. I think it's set up for me. I mean, for the... Okay. Well, we got a 403. That's not a status we want, right? We'd want a 200. What's a 403? Forbidden. Right. So cool. I mean, it seems like it kind of seems like this should not work. Kind of. I mean, so going back here, when we created a view, I just made the assumption that that was my channel ID. But I don't know. Is that different than my... I actually know if my channel ID is different than my user ID, actually. Let's try to send to the developer rig channel. I don't know if it's going to make any difference. Like, it's kind of hard for me to imagine that all this stuff is just going to work. Yeah, it's also a 403. So that was our body. That was our headers. So, I mean, there's tons of things that could be broken. Our authorization could be screwed up, like our headers could be no good. cannot do that. Header's not available to me here. The channel ID. Yes, I'm getting a 403. I don't exactly know why. I mean, is that because this URL is wrong, or because that's what the API returns if your headers or body are malformed? I don't know the answer, unfortunately. I would maybe guess it is part of this authorization thing. That's why I was just about to start to try printing the headers, but that didn't work here for whatever reason. Let's do it here. Well, the browser is just talking to this guy, so that guy's okay. I mean, I could try to go to that URL in the browser. Oops. Oh, I'm in Firefox. What are the dev tools in Firefox? So this is the authorization header that got generated. It at least exists. Yeah. So you know what's weird though? Well, that's weird. Okay, it's not an error. It is a valid response. It's just, so I could try, I guess, to build this, like get Postman and try to build something valid. So the server token could be wrong. The client ID, I mean, I certainly could have messed up any piece of this. No question. Probably I shouldn't be showing this because who knows? The secret's in there somewhere. The client ID, did that seem correct? Yes. The authorization has that bearer prefix. It seems to have been assembled. Oh yeah, they do have a curl example. That is true. Let's find that thing. Good point. Very good point. So that was in their, whatever they call it, the Twitch pub sub world. But so the issue may be is that the call may be totally valid, but if the extension isn't running on that particular channel, it might, I mean, that's hard to know exactly what the issue is. But maybe we can get to the bottom of it. No, this is not what I want because I need my own. I need to know about this thing. No, don't go there. Good grief. You're killing me. Just find, no, search for this. Just search for that. I'm going to smash you. This thing. Send extension pub sub message. So what's a little weird is that their example here looks slightly different. Like when you look at the payload of what they send here. So they have their headers. There's 3 headers. There's a client ID, content type, and then there's that authorization bearer, which may just be like, woof, why is that so long? Something generated. I mean, I think it was some recipe. Yeah. Make server token, JSON web token sign. Oh, it is so incredibly possible that I screwed something up in here though. There's lots of ingredients in that little recipe. It could be that my token date is wrong because I made that too short or something. Like, what did I make that? 30 seconds? There's just so many things that could be wrong. So I lost it. Come back. Let's try to figure out what goes on here. So Twitch or EBS JWTs are allowed. Your signed JWT must include the channel ID and pub sub permissions fields documented in the JWT schema. So we have exp, which is the expiration. We have a channel ID, which I'm just passing through in the URL. We have a user ID, which is me, as far as I can tell. We have a role, external. This pub sub permissions is different in this example. Maybe, well, this looks like I'm just giving all permissions. So that's to send to a specific channel. I mean, I guess we could make that more explicit. I don't know if that really makes a difference. This thing. And send, and we're going to say we can broadcast. Okay, so that's our payload. Our secret, assuming I did all this stuff right, which I guess I didn't check, did I? The others seem to work though, because I had, well, maybe they didn't actually. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I should actually make sure that this is working. Okay, no, that seems like it worked. So that .invo. Client ID worked. Owner ID also? Seems good. That's me. I'm not going to do the secret. You're not going to trick me into doing the secret. Although it's possible that the secret is the one piece that's broken, which would be kind of funny. Okay, let me check the secret. I'll check the secret. Because that would be funny if, like, for one reason that was the one variable that wasn't... No, secret seems good. Okay, that seemed to not be the problem. So let's just keep running down the list. So we should be getting a 204. That's where we post. We want to post to the channel name. I'm assuming that URL was good. That's just so weird. So that's where we're going to try to post to. Oh no, we've been streaming more than 2 hours. Backblaze is going to try to kill us. Pause it. Okay, maybe we're safe. Fatality. Let's try this thing again. Well, that's maybe the total wrong number to use. Maybe I should let's just, to be safe, make sure I am me, because presumably I have permission to be me. Okay, so that looks like a... Does that look like the URL we want? HTTPS... Come back here. API.twitch.tv/extension/message/ the channel ID. The parameters that we need are... the body parameters that we need. So what did we put in our body? Content type, message is a string, target is an array, broadcast, why would that be an array? Those seem kind of mutually exclusive, but okay. Man, the authorization token really seems like the suspicious part. Like, where do we actually learn about how to make that? Verifying the JWT. You know what? It also occurs to me that there's probably, maybe there's some like JWT. Oh, that could be a real thing. Like, we've just been cutting and pasting stuff willy-nilly. It's super possible that we are missing some critical thing that we're supposed to configure the JWT stuff with it. I just don't know much about. Verify into code. Who are you? Who are you? What do you mean? Okay, that's just verifying it. So that's if we want to, okay, that's like if when we receive data, we want to verify that it's good. And sure. But I'm not worried about that at the moment. So like JSON web token, huh? Sign is at the end of that make server token, so we did grab that. What I was looking for is if there was anything that's like an initialization. I just don't know enough about JSON web token, so I was looking to see if there was some kind of initialization, but I don't see it. I see there's a way to verify stuff that comes in, and then there is the sign at the end of that make server token. So that is what gives us that big old blob that we are sending at the end of our payload, our authorization in the headers. So that is verifying stuff. So that's fine. I don't know, we need to do that. That's verifying the communication it receives via any AJAX call from your extension. We needed to enforce the policy that certain configuration tasks, etc., 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 etc. Sure. Okay. Signing it. In addition to verifying tokens by the it needs to be able to sign new JSON web tokens for calls to various extension endpoints that use JSON. Signed by the following format. Experience user role. We did. Token is the token object created in the previous step. Here. Secret is the secret, and then send that header. It's just it's so difficult to know like what is actually the problem. Like, is a 403 is not super useful in this context, unfortunately. Like, is my token bad? Is the channel? Am I not actually able to talk to this channel right now? I'm almost certain that when I was when I ran all this stuff locally, it worked okay. Like that it was working okay, meaning that I can use the, I think, use the pub sub stuff locally. I might be wrong, but it seemed like I could. So just looking back at this, we need an expiration, which is the Unix timestamp, which is date now, rounded down to seconds, plus whatever our, like, plus a 30-second window. Interestingly, channel ID does not seem to be required here for whatever reason. This really just says expiration, user, and role. But when we go back and look at that pub sub stuff, it seems like it needed more than that. Draclin, how's it going? Heat is the heat map thing. I'm stuck in Twitch API world at the moment, though, unfortunately. It's all annoying security stuff. It is so incredibly possible that I like just ripped out and copied and pasted something. Like, look at this stuff, actually. Invalid auth header, invalid JWT. Where's that stuff used? Because that would be real useful to know. So that's on the verify into code. So that's not actually useful to us at all. Because we need it as part of the sign process. Like, I wish their tools would say, like, hey, man, your stuff's broken. It's not exactly a bug. It's just... the architecture is a little weird. Basically, you're just in HTML and JavaScript land in your extension, so you can kind of do whatever you want there. But then you have to talk to what is called your EBS, your extension backend server. That part is working because it's just you kind of talk to it however you want. But then that backend server needs to talk to Twitch because Twitch is what's going to talk to the individual clients, and so you have to say, hey, Twitch, would you please tell this to everyone on the channel? And Twitch is like, cool, you got it. Except when I try to tell this something, send something to everyone in the channel, I get a 403. And that's valid. I mean, it means I asked the server and it said, no. I just don't know what's wrong. So I've given it the channel that I want. I've given it, maybe I have to like be running this extension view. I'm running an extension view. Did I make this for me? Let's recreate this, I guess. In the off chance that like this has to be active. So let's delete this old one, create a new one. So this is just the overlay view. This is going to be for a logged in user, let's say unlinked. The channel to use, we'll use me. Cast my channel to a string. It is. So this is the string that's coming out. I did try. No, Draclin, if only. So this, where's that goofy thing? I don't know. I don't really use this syntax, but I just kind of adopted it from them. This thing. So it should be a string here. Oh, do you mean in like the payload that happens in here? This thing? Well, this has to be a string because this is just JSON. I mean, that's just going to be a string, right? I mean, it's all just strings. JavaScript, there's no types. I think this payload is okay, but you know what? Just check. Actually, we never tried. Let's log that. Good point. We could see if there's something obviously wrong with the payload, because that's very possible. Wait. Where is the payload? Excuse me? That's the headers. Yeah, so down here, these are the headers that are getting generated that look valid-ish. Although, what did I just do wrong? Why can't I see the payload? I'm calling this, right? Make server token. Also, I've like 90% of this code is just cut and pasted from their examples, so it is beyond possible that I'm doing everything wrong. This is clearly getting called. What's my problem? The bearer prefix is just a constant that goes in front. It's just bearer. Where is that? Man, this file's getting... Oh, I'm making edits to their file. Good grief. Ignore that. Ignore me. That was their file. Bearer prefix is just a... it's just the word bearer. No, you're doing great. Totally fine. I'm just being ridiculous and editing the wrong file. Okay, this is the payload we're getting. That's the duration time, which should be 30 seconds from now. Channel ID and user ID, I think those are the same thing in this context. I might be wrong about that, but I think they are. Role external, all that stuff came straight from the documentation. So this looks valid-ish. You know, I wonder if in their response headers, where do the response headers live? Do they just live in here? Maybe in their response headers, they tell me something useful. Is that too much to ask? Okay, those are their response headers. They don't. I don't see anything useful. The bearer prefix is not in the payload. The bearer prefix is here in the headers. So when the headers get created here, it's just the bearer prefix plus the token that is generated. Do I? Because it's an authorization header, so it'd be like authorization colon. Maybe you're right. I don't think I even changed that though. I think that's exactly as it was in their example. So their bearer prefix just had a space, and that was working before. Sorry, you wanted a paste bin of which part? Just all this output? It's probably more output than is actually useful. Let's get rid of the raw headers because I don't think those are useful. That still seems like it was more stuff than I wanted. Okay, let me try to make this slightly easier to navigate. It is supposed to be bearer followed by JWT. Yeah, so that's what it is. That's what this whole big old blobby string is, what is generated here. And that's what gets appended to make that. And that again is almost verbatim from the example code that I believe was working. Oh, I didn't prefix the payload. Let's do it just for consistency. Turn my channel ID into a string, but it is, right? It's JavaScript. Everything's a string more or less, right? I mean, once it's here, it's. You mean here, in the payload? Because it's ending up quoted here. I'm not entirely sure that channel ID and user ID should be the same thing. My paste has triggered some spam detection. Oh no. What's the actual message with the 403 response? So you know what? I don't know. What is the... I didn't even check the response body. Is there a response body? That'd be pretty funny. I didn't even... is that just body? Maybe they're telling me what's wrong, and I didn't even look at the body. Whoa, the body is... cool. Is it message? That's not message. Oh, there's a status message too. Undefined. Message is not defined. Body was seemingly binary. Guess we could try to... Okay, where were we? What we were just... log the response. That's a good idea. Let's just log the response. Look at us go with this real time. What was it? The low latency chat. It's quite a response. Good grief. My terminal log. What's an easy way to do this? I sort of just want to build a... Well, okay. What's the easiest way to do this? I want to just build a... let's do this. To make it a little easier to get what you're after. Because this is going to be a little annoying in the terminal, like the built-in terminal in... Oops, that I didn't mean to close. Let's just do this. And then, oh, what do I do? Wait, is it already running? Oh, it's already running. Let's just build a curl. Okay, yeah, I will do that. Yeah, I know. Postman would be the better way to do this. Maybe I should just grab Postman. I don't have Postman installed. Let's grab Postman. I think that'll make our lives a little easier if this is going to turn into a fiasco. Okay, let's get back to that documentation. The pub sub world. This. So yeah, we just need to build out this. We just have 3 headers, 1 URL, should be a piece of cake. And then yes, maybe in the response, all answers You think so? You think it's going to be that easy? The problem is it's like anything could be wrong in the payload, right? But I guess it won't be that bad, right? There's not that much stuff in there. My fear, though, my fear is just that there's something like it's not that the payload's invalid. It's that this particular mechanism does not work for local testing, you know, and that you have to start. This whole stack is weird. Do I have an account with Postman that isn't a work account? Let's just make one. Nobody look at my password I'm making up right now. I'm too paranoid. Too paranoid to use one password on stream. Fearful. Make a new password. Draklin is cool. 2019. Got it. Good gosh, leave me alone, Postman. Let's just do it. Okay. How does any of this work? This is been a little while. We just need to. No, I just want what's in here. Just let me just have this box, please. Okay. We just want to essentially recreate this call. Oh no, we have the same password. Cool. We want to post. Leave me alone. We need to make headers, right? So our headers are client ID, content type, and authorization. And according to all this nonsense down here, client ID is this, content type is this. Now the authorization is gonna, I should just make this and add like token duration is in seconds. Let's make it a long token. Does that just work? Okay. So this is our new thing. Postman. Okay, and then the only thing is our channel ID. Wait, missing required parameter content type. Now we got a bad request. Leave me alone. What? Oh, I gotta send a message. I have to have a body, right? Is that my body? The body that I want to send, does that go here? I don't know if I was even logging the body. That's gonna be really funny if it's just some dumb problem with the body. It probably is. I'm already predicting it. Okay, what was our body? This thing. It's gonna be this, isn't it? It's gonna be some dumb problem with the body. How does this work? I forgot how to do this. How do I say the body that I want to send? Does that not go in here? I am forgetting how to use Postman. Can I put it in here? Oh, I gotta put it in here, right? No. Where do I put the body that I want to send? I'm clearly forgetting some important Postman thing. Continue learning. No. This request does not have a body. I want one. Not form data. Here. Is this what I want? The parameter targets was malformed. The targets parameter. Okay. Well, that's what their targets look like. Is an array with a single string value, right? I wish I could make this pretty. JSON message targets. Well, what have I done now? Okay. Draclin. JWT could not be verified, but that's like the worst thing that could happen. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I forgot to switch the screen back. Well, you missed me struggling in Postman. So maybe it's better that nobody saw that. But yes, look what we have. We have a message. Why was that message null when we tried to do this? Okay, JWT could not be verified. That sucks. So that means I put a lot of seconds on that. Just make sure it's just not expired. The packet that I sent, can I view that as a, that's weird, why would that be the same? That doesn't seem right. Why would that be exactly the same if part of that payload is the time? That seems very suspicious, doesn't it? Sorry, the packet that I sent, like the whole thing. Like here's the headers and here's the body. We're using sign. Yeah, so sign is how we're getting that string here. So it's the payload and it's the secret. And this is really straight from the yeah, payload. So it seems imminently possible that the time is wrong. Although I made this a lot of seconds. Okay, let's try it. I'll try it for you, Draclin. I'm not convinced, but is that still the same? That doesn't seem right. This seems like this is the same. This, oh, it was slightly different? Okay, no, it was different that time. Okay, good, okay. Still, JWT cannot be verified. So that must be in here as message. So why did response.message not work? Like, what did the example that while we were here? Here's their example. This responsive web page is going to make me lose my mind. Expiration, user ID, channel ID, external. Broadcast is what I'm trying to call, I think. I mean, when I give it a channel like that. I wish it would tell me what was wrong with my JWT. This is my first time using JSON Web Tokens, so cool. Pub sub permissions. You're gonna tell me to wildcard it? Because I did see a wildcard example. That is one of the things I changed from listen to broadcast, send. Let's do it. I'm ready. Still a 403. What is the, like... So the token is changing every time, so that's at least, like, we're not that broken. The clock is ticking. Same error message. I just don't know enough about JSON Web Tokens to know what's up. Anything different in their little example? Data type for which? For the in Postman? Like the content data type? Content type? The exp field. So what does it say here? That it wants a big ol' integer. And actually that's true. Is our payload coming through? Is that coming through as a string? No, it is coming through as a big ol' integer. So it is, we are getting strings for channeled ID and user ID, but exp is a big ol' integer. And it's just now plus, right now I added 300,000 seconds. Sure. What's the right way to do that in JavaScript? I mean, it's super math, right? Like it's math floor. Isn't math floor going to return an integer? It's going to be a number, right? Not an int, but a number. We can wrap it. But I feel like the payload looks, don't you think the payload looks right? Well, let's give it a shot. Token duration, yeah, I mean, it's a JavaScript. It doesn't have any quotes here, so it's a number, capital N number, right? True or false? JavaScript. Ooh. No, I can't just int it. What's the way to do that? I feel like I always do math.floor if I want something resembling an integer, but it's not going to be an integer, it's just going to be a number. Is that true? Or like round it, like add it first. Parseint, that's the one. $403. Oops. Well, that doesn't look right. No, it's okay. Yeah, that's the 6th of February. So that's days away. Well, I mean, it's getting somethinged. It's getting somethinged in the sign where we pass the payload and the secret. Could my secret be wrong? Does JWT.io have a validator? Ooh, cool. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's cram that in there. And maybe not do that on stream, just in case there's something secret in there. No, that looks safe, right? Let's see. Draclin, thank you for all your help and attention. I appreciate it. Let's go here. Let's look at this dude. Let's get our latest blob. What a silly problem. Everything else was going so quickly. And then, of course, we get to authentication. No! Is that copying just by highlighting? Who knows? Okay. Decoding it. Is the algorithm wrong? That's the algorithm that was in the example. Type JWT. Expiration. Ooh, look, it even... Oh, that's nice. It's converting the expiration for me. 2 strings, external. I don't know what IAT means. Issued at. So that's when it was issued. I could verify my signature by putting my secret in here, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna put my secret in. Nobody look. Switching back here. I'm gonna try to not forget to turn this back on. It is super possible that the secret's wrong in some way. So that's header plus payload. It says signature verified. I don't know if that actually worked. That doesn't really seem like it. Weak secret. No, this is to encode back there. Is secret actually working here? Let me do a little bit of logging in here and try to figure out if secret. Let's double check the secret. Because that seems, at this moment, like the most suspect part of this. So let's log our secret. Nobody look. Oh no, now they know everything about, oh no. Okay, let's see. Let's try this. I will switch the camera back on momentarily. Oops. Okay. The secret, well, I am putting in what was secret, what the secret was on the, I wonder if I do need to encode it. I'm putting it in verbatim. It looks base64 encoded. Sorry, did I touch the mic? It already looks base64 to me. Let me go back to the developer console thing. First, let me make sure I'm not exposing my secret anywhere. This is gonna be almost certainly a very silly problem. You think I need to decode it before using it there? I don't know. Everything looked like it was designed. And again, this was working with the example when I put the secret in. I think just verbatim what was given to me on the console. I mean the extension dashboard. So I'm checking the secret again. If I can find it. I do not love this site at all. I especially hate responsive sites that when they're like slightly smaller than the entire web page, cut off a bunch of very important information. Where do I find the secret? I can't remember. Secret keys. Okay. Ends in that. Let's double check over here. That secret looks correct. Maybe it's not, but it looks correct. You think so? I mean, the examples do not do that. The examples seem to use verbatim, like use the secret exactly as provided, but actually, let's look at that. Let's look at the, where was the documentation we're looking at for that? Okay, I think I've hopefully unexposed myself. Yeah, I'm sure they do. So that, let's see. So for example, inside, oh gosh, not here. So this one. Even in their example backend code, you're supposed to use that too. And when you look in here, even in their example backend code, for anything that comes from the client, I'm not doing this yet, but you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to verify. And secret goes in const secret buffer. Secret just goes in as is, kind of. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe when do they mess with secret? That would be pretty funny if that's the thing that I missed. That's what I get for just cutting and pasting things. Draclin! I missed. They do decode it. And I missed that. Look, they do totally decode it. I just completely overlooked that. Well, that was a cool use of whatever, 40 minutes. I bet that's what the problem is. That is silly and embarrassing. Cool. Draclin, what would I do without you? Okay, I'm thinking that's all it was. What a silly problem. What a ridiculous problem. It's funny because early on, I was thinking that I did something like this. Like, I just missed something. But I thought it was around JWT. So I was going through looking at all the JWT stuff. It did not occur to me that that they would do this, that they would do this thing, that they would decode the secret when they set the variable. That's so silly. What a great use of time. Well, Draclin, thank you so much for going through all of that. That was pretty ridiculous. Thank you, Danthus, too, for chipping in earlier on. Cool. Well, that's funny. So that should mean I think that on the client front end side that we can start receiving messages now. What a ridiculous thing, man. That's my own fault. It is my own fault for copying and pasting code. That is like, that's silly. One of the things that I do when I copy and paste code, like earlier when I went through and like slightly changed the names of the variables, part of that is just sort of a little bit of OCD. But one of the reasons I do that is to sort of like go through things line by line to kind of understand them. But it just did not even occur to me that they would have done something to that variable. Just how silly. What a silly thing. How much of the other stuff mattered? I'm not super worried about it. I mean, at some point I would be like, I came pretty close to using JSON web tokens on a previous project and then kind of shied away from them, partially because I didn't have any familiarity. So this has been good, actually, like the deeper dive on stuff, even though it was a little kind of a red herring. I think I don't actually mind too much. Somewhere in there I had console log secret on. Oh no, somewhere on my stream, probably you can find the secret. That's okay. I'll revoke it and give myself a new secret. Or maybe you would have only seen the basic, like the decoded version. Okay, look, just to be good, just to be a good, diligent person, I will go through at this very moment and regenerate the secret, because otherwise I'm going to forget. Although this dashboard sucks. What a not cool thing. Annoying. I've had to find that secret 3 times, and every time I can't find it. Okay, secret keys. Let's create a new secret. Are you sure you want to generate a secret? Yeah. This new secret's going to be way better. This one doesn't become active. Wow. These secrets are valid for 100 years. But this one does not become active for 4 minutes, so. Nothing will work for the next 4 minutes. That's okay. Okay. What a silly thing. Okay. What are we going to do now? We've been at this for 3 hours. I was really supposed to do some other stuff, but I feel like I'm slightly on a roll now. The one other thing I would like to do is, I feel like we're very close to, in fact, it kind of almost should already work. This thing, this, maybe I didn't add it yet. Maybe I didn't add it because we went on this roller coaster of emotion. Okay, so the thing is the pub sub receiver. I'm still not even 100% sure that's how we want to handle this, but hey. That is in here. So the way they do it is, all this fancy stuff. I need to do any of these things? I don't want to do any of these things. You know what, Draclin, it could. That could be helpful to be like, hey goober, don't do what you're doing. Okay, this is the thing that matters right here. I believe that this is what we care about. And if we implement this and then our token becomes valid in 4 minutes, I think we will be well on our way to like our ladybug clicker, but a way more complicated clicker. I would actually, you know what, broadly, I would tend to agree with you, because one of my biggest beefs with the design of so many systems is there are so many cases where a developer or engineer or systems architect or whatever puts the burden on the user to do something when it's like a computer can do that. So exactly as you're describing, like, yeah, like a computer could say like, oh, does this look base64 encoded? Let me try it, whatever. Like in general, I prefer it if maybe this is, I don't know if I fully come down on that in this instance, but in general, that's a thing that bothers me a lot, is when it's like, hey, a computer can do this. Why are you making me do this thing? So this is a pretty weird one. Why would it be color? Is this just... I wonder if that's really message, like listen. I need more documentation on this Twitch helper. But I don't know that there is much. Sending. The helper wouldn't do that. What can the helper do? JavaScript helper. Okay, this thing can. Do what? It's unauthorized, on context. On error, on position change. Oh, excuse me. Visibility changed. Listen. Okay, so this is the thing we care about. So we're going to listen for broadcasts, and the parameters to our callback take message. So that's kind of what I figured that was. Good. Good for you, Jacqueline. You're out there fighting the good fight. Don't make me do things, computer, that you can do yourself. So I don't know if this thing's smart enough to easily log multiple things. We'll just do it on multiple lines. I think we're sending nonsense as our message at this point. Okay, we forgot to add the code that actually... we forgot to do the thing that's actually important. What is the best way to just do a GET request in raw JavaScript? I feel like I know how to do a jQuery. Like, what's the right way to do that? Does that exist? An XML HTTP request. So a synchronous request you maybe shouldn't do. So we would want to make like an async request. HTTP open. Oh yeah, with a XML HTTP request, yeah. So we should probably be nice and make an async one. Oh, nope. Yeah. What a bunch of nonsense. Okay, so where do we actually want to do that? So instead of doing a draw here, when a click happens, we're going to do like our send click. So just have something like a and this thing is going to look silly, and it is going to have, I don't like this. That's not how I would do this. I like too much. Okay, and then, oh, fetch. I think I already used that. Well, let's just do it this way, because this seems like a way humans might do something. What do we want? Let's just hard code all this stuff for now. Make it silly. Yeah. I don't actually care about any of this stuff. I don't care about any of this stuff. Does it matter? Do I need this? Will it not be, will it be synchronous otherwise? Like if I don't have any of those callbacks? The fetch API, huh? What will people in Internet Explorer use? Ooh, promises. Yeah, fetch does look actually very easy. That looks quite, that actually looks very nice, but it's not, I mean, do I care? Does Twitch care if my extension is super backwards compatible? Let's just do this for now, I guess. Maybe I do kind of want the callback a little bit. I keep hitting, that's annoying. I need another channel. Let's not worry about it at this moment. Okay, that seemed to go in there, and I got a message back. So we have round tripped. We did it. Not really with any data that we actually wanted. Should I make that? We gotta figure that out. So, cool. Let's say, let's make this more of a thing. Oh no. The syntax is weird. I actually feel like I'm in PHP or something. And then this person is going to start to care about that. So we really need to do JWT stuff for the data that we're sending the other way also. I'm just ignoring that at the moment. Because that will probably matter at some point. And this thing got messy. There's a lot of nonsense in here now. Okay, the broadcast click. What are we even doing? So, what are we doing? We're really just bringing in the channel. So we could send channel and X and Y. And then this person can start to care about those also. And then the thing is when we send this message, can I send a JSON blob in here? Will it let you pick your color? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it'll use your chat color. I'm kind of thinking that it doesn't have colors, or that the colors are used like traditionally the way the heat map will. I'm not sure. Ooh. I haven't decided. So the way my general thought on this is that you'll have some sample window, which, because I can't, this broadcast thing you can only do once per second. And so I think it's very useful to use this broadcast thing. But what I think will happen is you'll have like a 1 second sample window, and it will sort of cache all the clicks in it. And then it will build some kind of packet that encapsulates all of them, and once a second send out an update to everybody, and everybody will get the things drawn. I think that's how I want to do it. Maybe. And I just need to come up with what that data structure is, because you can send once per second, and it can only be a 5 kilobyte blob. So it's got to be a pretty tight thing. But for now, I kind of just want to do this. That looks bad. I don't know if I can, actually. Is this going to freak out? Ooh. No, it didn't work. It broke. I broke it. Something's broken. Everything's broken. Because this needs to be a string. I'd have to do this. I'd have to say, yeah. But wait, that's getting JSON stringified. So what's your problem? What's wrong with that? Jacqueline, have a great dinner. Thanks again for your help. What a silly, embarrassing thing, but I kind of knew it was going to be silly and embarrassing, so not too surprised. Well, that's all wrong. What did I do wrong? Oh, can I not do that thing in the browser? That like, oh, I have to use backticks. Is that my problem? Yeah, I think I have to use backticks. What a mess. I'm getting confused. Can browsers not do that trick? Or did I miss some piece of the trick? I'm not really convinced this is the right way to do stuff anyway, but hey. No, that worked. Yeah, great. Okay, so that worked. And it's just on the way back, we're no good. So on our like receive, we're in bad shape. This is where we are receiving our click. Kind of feels like we're not receiving that because, yeah, I bet that's not valid. That's not valid. We do need to separately JSON stringify that. I would imagine. I bet we have to stringify that. Yeah, this is a little weird, but I think this is what needs to happen. And then we can put whatever we want here because this needs to be a string. Yeah, this makes sense. And then we'd have to independently kind of unstringify that elsewhere. I think. Yeah. So now we would get a. What is the syntax for that? I forgot. The JSON decode to JSON. Oops. Can't remember how to go back. Parse, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what we can do then. Data equals whatever. JSON parse the message. And now we can call draw click. .x message .y. What a journey. What a journey we've been on. 3.5 hours. An hour of that lost to utter nonsense. Oh well. What is this? What are you complaining about? Also wrong. Maybe you're complaining because everything I just did was wrong. Okay, cool. Okay. So this looks basically the same as it did, whatever, an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, except now the polka dots go round trip. They go out. They go via a web call out to the server and then come back through the Twitch pub sub. And I actually am probably in trouble because I think I'm violating some... I'm like violating the speed because I'm sending that stuff more than once per second. Oops. So that's the other big part of this actually, is right now, when we send a click to the server, it just immediately passes that click through. And what actually needs to happen is we need to build like a queue of clicks and send all those clicks at once. So that might be the next thing we can do. The real implementation of that is probably like Redis, and we stick in Redis and we grab everything from Redis and send it all out. But an interim version is just some data structure that exists in memory on the node side and queues up the clicks as they come in, and then once per second we iterate through that and send all the clicks to the clients at once, which will be weird because it's like you can click a bunch and then you only get updated once per second. And maybe on the client side we like animate those as they appear, and maybe we show like, I don't know, this is always a weird thing with this kind of thing, like what do you do with the local, like my click? Should I see my click instantly? But then what happens when my click also comes back from the server? Like that can be a slightly weird thing. What we might do is have just some local visual feedback, like some little ping to let you know that you clicked, but it may not actually contribute. It may take a little time for it to contribute to the bigger picture, right? Okay, well, I think I'm gonna call it today. That was a journey. We definitely figured some things out, which is great. I think we can add that thing, that queuing thing. Then maybe next time I'll add the queuing thing, and then maybe next time we will focus on some visuals, and maybe like, yeah, once we have that basic queuing, that's kind of all we need for the server, for the first pass of the server. So maybe we throw that up on Heroku, and kind of start from there, perhaps. So I think that's it for today. Thanks again, Danthus, for all your help. Thanks, of course, to Draklin for all your help. Thanks for anybody else who took a look. I will throw this up on YouTube as a cautionary warning to the people of the future to make sure that you decode your base64 secret. I wonder what my secret is decoded. Maybe it's some weird message from Twitch. But hey, we saw it through the power of proper debugging and using Postman and all these fun things. But really, it was just a silly mistake on my part. All my fault. Not the first time. Will not be the last. Okay, thank you so much. I will see you soon, I hope, and hopefully you'll be able to click all over my face soon if that with that, float your boat. Bye.